Are in place.
Okay, Veer Sanghvi, will we see a new Narendra Modi, a new improved, softer, gentler, kinder, more humane Narendra Modi?
Well, there's two sides to Narendra Modi. One is the man who knows what he wants and does it and is not by nature a consensual leader. I imagine it's probably too late for him to change that. But there's another Narendra Modi. Sudhanshu used the term the outsider. He's fought this like a battle as an outsider who's seeking to storm the Delhi Sultanate, to use his phrase. Therefore, there's been a lot of hostility, a lot of hatred, a lot of bitterness. I'm hoping that once he gets into office, when he's won, he'll realize he doesn't need any of that. I remember something Rajiv Gandhi once told me when he was out of power. He said one of the mistakes I made in 1984 is I kept saying, these are my people, these are not my people. He said it took me 2 years to realize I'm Prime Minister of India, they're all my people. I'm hoping that Modi gets that realization sooner rather than later. If he does, then some of the hostility, the bitterness that has accompanied his rise to power will be healed.
Rahul, one second, just please.
Okay.
You know, there are two sides to this story. One is no political leader. I've been a political journalist for 30 or 40 years. No political leader in my memory has been more demonized than Narendra Modi. So the hostility and the bitterness comes from the fact...
Amrinder Singh is speaking at this time after having defeated Arun Jaitley in possibly... Is that official? Not yet, but the gap is big. Let's listen to Amrinder Singh.
Well, we are leading on 3 seats so far, and God willing, before it's over, because अभी तो आधा भी नहीं हुआ.
और आपकी सीट सबसे कांटे का मुकाबला था, प्रतिष्ठा का सवाल था, ये इज्जत का सवाल था यहाँ पे, अमृतसर की सीट. और बीजेपी ने जो अपना इतने बड़े लीडर को यहाँ पे भेजा था, अरुण जेटली को, उनकी जो हार हो रही है यहाँ पे, इसके क्या मायने आप निकालते हैं?
देखो, I said so in the first day that Jaitley is an unknown factor in Amritsar. He's got nothing to do with Punjab. And why didn't he? It would have been easier for him had he fought Delhi, जहाँ रहा है, या गुजरात में लड़पट. अब यहाँ आने का क्या फायदा है? सारे इलेक्शन तो अपनी जस्टिफिकेशन करता रहा कि मैं तो अमृतसर का हूँ, मैं तो अमृतसर का हूँ. So it hasn't helped.
Sir, Aam Aadmi Party is leading on 4 seats, and in some of the seats, I mean, it looks like they will win. Do you believe Congress conceded the space of opposition to Aam Aadmi Party?
No, I think the Aam Aadmi Party is reacting to that Hazare movement, which is the issues which I just mentioned to you, things like corruption and other things which came up, and I think people have given them the support for that.
ये जो हार हो रही है यहाँ पे, ये बीजेपी की हार है या अकाली दल की हार है अमृतसर के अंदर?
ये दोनों की हार है. एक दूसरे को तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं. यहाँ अमृतसर में तो दोनों ही हारे हैं.
जी. First of all, how do you see the lead? I mean, do you think it is coalescing into?
Well, after half the time, like for instance, East is over, and we are leading by 32,000. But there are some seats where, like Mujita, only 4 rounds have taken place. So we have to see how it all goes.
Akali Dal was overly confident. They were saying that all Mr. Jaitley needs to do is just come, fill paper and go back.
That was the Akali Dal's fault, because Akali Dal should have known what the they are also getting disconnected from ground realities.
और आपको लगता है जेटली साहब ने गलत सीट चुन ली यहाँ पे आकर के?
उसको तो ले आया है बादल और मजीठा वगैरह. उनको ये कह के बस दस्तखत करके चले जाओ और हम जिता देंगे आपको. अब पता लग गया जेटली को.
You've actually had a spectacular run-up with this election also, because we've seen the battle was really bitter. So finally, who's tasting the sweet success?
Look, you can never fight a battle, number one, being on the defensive. I have been through the army too. So whether you see military or whether you see anything, you have to get on the offensive. And you got to put your opponent on the defensive. And we managed to do that here.
So
we put the defensive, we put Jaitley on the defensive, we put Mujita on the defensive. Everyone was justifying their positions.
And he also, there was a point also being made that all he needs to do is just come here, sign the papers, and it's a sealed deal.
That's what I'm saying. That is where the Akalis misled him into believing this. Because I think the Akalis themselves, after so many years in government, have got disconnected with reality.
And also in this entire process, we've seen the war of words is extremely bitter. Are you finally going to, taste sweet success? The leads are completely in your favor.
Well, so far, but elections, I've been 13 elections myself, and you don't count your chickens before they are hatched. So we have to wait and see. Now, when the last round is over, then I'll say we won.
So is this smile telling
but
us?
I can tell you one thing, that everybody in Amritsar, nobody out, everybody went hammer and tongs for my.
So Mrs. Soni is trailing, Mr. Bajwa is trailing.
Amrinder Singh then a catch-22 situation. Karan not sure whether he should celebrate or bemoan the fact that his party is being smashed, but he'd been hammered in the assembly elections, and that in a sense is vindication for the clout he still holds. Much more than Bajwa and the others who've now been given an opportunity. He's still proven who's king of Punjab.
There is one other reason why Amarinder could genuinely have a smile, even if he doesn't want to exhibit it too publicly. That is, he knew that he was being put into this job of taking on Jaitley, A, because Sonia wanted a tough fight, and he's proven to her that the Maharaj of Patiala can take on anyone, even if in the consequence he's ended up his wife losing Patiala. But more importantly, he's positioned himself to lead the Congress party in the assembly elections, where he believes there's an enormous anti-incumbency against the Badal family, and he hopes to garner it and come back and serve a second term as chief minister. Had he not won this election, had he not agreed to fight, he would not have been the lead for the Congress in the state assembly. Now he's guaranteed that 2 years down the road, whenever the state assembly elections happen, he will lead the Congress, and he hopes he'll come to power.
I want to take a look at the numbers for Punjab. Just take a look, because this is where the Aam Aadmi Party has made a big dent. Dr. Lahiri, if you could explain these, please, because we have now firm leads on all 13. The BJP Akalis are at 6. They've picked only one. Clearly, unlike other places where there's a Modi wave in Punjab, there hasn't been a big Modi wave. In fact, the joker in the pack or the surprise debutant has been the Aam Aadmi Party. That's won on Sangrood Man's ticket and has got 3 seats. That's huge for the Aam Aadmi Party. And then you've got the Congress at 4, that's down 4. Dr. Lahiri, your assessment of the Punjab numbers.
See, Punjab, two things are important. One, Punjab was ruled by an BJP ally, not a BJP state. So what we saw in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, those are BJP ruled states. This was an SAD, Shiromani Akali Dal ruled state. And there was an anti-incumbency factor. And as a result, what we are finding is that the BJP and its allies are not doing as well as it is doing in the Western Belt.
Okay.
And Aam Aadmi Party is doing far better in Punjab.
Because I have the vote share figures for Punjab. That's preliminary vote share data, which shows the BJP Akalis at 37%, the Congress at 37%, neck and neck between the BJP and the Congress, and others at 26%. Not all the others are Aam Aadmi Party, but essentially that suggests that the Aam Aadmi Party has made massive inroads into Punjab.
Two things. I wanted to come in after Karan, which is when he talked about Amrinder's campaign, if you listen to the campaign as I did, he spent very little time attacking Jaitley. He just dismissed Jaitley as an outsider. His attack was on the Badals, on Majithia. He was fighting it like a local Punjab election, and he was preparing, as Karan says, for the assembly election.
How did he pull it off? What happened to the Modi wave?
I think there was a very strong anti-Badal wave in Punjab, which neutralized.
Well, why didn't that show up in the assembly elections then? The assembly elections didn't happen long back.
It wasn't there then.
It's happened now.
It's happened in the past couple of
No, but there was anger against the Badals even during the assembly elections. Somehow they won despite that.
But
I can see there is that
built up much more in the past year or so.
And there's one other factor. If there had been no Aam Aadmi Party, my guess is
No, but
a lot of that
Javed's
vote would have
friend
come
Mr.
to the
Bajwa can say, I'm the one who scripted the turnaround of the Congress in Punjab. When Amrinder was in charge, nothing happened. The Akalis won. Rahul Gandhi has given me charge. I'm the one who's scripted this turnaround.
Actually, the one who can rightfully own up to this is Mr. Majita. He's the one who scripted turnaround.
He's been the secret weapon for the Congress.
That's the Badal's son-in-law.
That is
brother-in-law.
Sukhbir's brother-in-law.
Sukhbir's brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Sukhbir's brother-in-law.
Rahul, what's the name?
They're discussing Amrinder Singh as having been one among them. I mean, let's not forget that Mamta stands in the same league, Jayalalitha, Naveen Patnaik. At least, you know, these are leaders.
I want to go across to Gandhinagar when Narendra Modi came to meet his mother, Hiraben, a short while before now. My colleague Preeti Chaudhary is reporting live from there just now.
Was she the mother in Gandhinagar just now?
Yes, I suspect that's true.
Preeti?
At least of what we've covered as journalists till now, we've never seen hysteria like this. Narendra Modi pulling out after meeting his mother there. You can see he's right there, hands folded. His hands folded, making his way from here. He's going to go to the BJP headquarters, and you can see the kind of people behind him running behind his car there. Never seen kind of hysteria today on the streets of Gandhinagar. Reporting with camera person Pinku, Preeti Chaudhary in Gandhinagar for Headlines Today.
There is mass hysteria, make no mistake about it. Let's take a look at what's happened in Gujarat. Because unlike any other state, where there is no real sense of Marathi pride or Bihari pride. In Gujarat, all Modi supporters, and clearly there are a lot of them, because all the 26 Lok Sabha seats in Gujarat have swung towards the BJP. That's 11 up from last time when the Congress had picked up 11 seats as well. Now all of Gujarat has been painted saffron. This is interesting, Sudhanshu Mittal, because Nitish Kumar talks of Bihari pride, but he hasn't really been able to build Bihari pride to the extent that Narendra Modi has. And obviously all of Gujarat, or a large part of Gujarat, wanted to see Modi as Prime Minister.
It's very obvious. You know, it's a matter of pride for any state that somebody belonging to that state is now going to be the Prime Minister.
Okay, Sushma Swaraj is speaking. I'm very keen on listening to what she has to say.
में सब दल इकट्ठे होकर के एक नई पार्टी में विलय किए थे, लेकिन ये जीत शुद्ध भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत है। हमारे एलायंस साथ में आए। खत्म हो गई क्या, वैसा लगता है आपको? देखिए, कांग्रेस ही एक परिवार के इर्द गिर्द है, इसलिए फिलहाल इस चुनाव में तो खत्म हुई है। बाकी तो लोकतंत्र है, आगे क्या होता है, लेकिन इस चुनाव में तो खत्म हुई। मैंने तीनों चीजें बता दी ना आपको। सरकार में मैम, ये सारी चीजें आज हाइपोथेटिकल हैं, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री का अपना कोई विषय नहीं, कोई सामूहिक निर्णय होता है। इस तरह के प्रश्न आप लोग जब पूछते हैं तो बहुत ही हाइपोथेटिकल और समय से पूर्व पहुंचते हैं। आज तक हम लोग केवल निर्णय परिणाम का इंतजार कर रहे थे कि परिणाम आए और हम कहाँ हैं ये पता चले। आज ये पता चला गया कि हम केवल सरकार बनाने की ही मुद्रा में नहीं है, शुद्ध रूप में बीजेपी का नंबर इतना आ रहा है कि हम बिना किसी दबाव की सरकार बना सकते हैं। उसके बाद भी हम जो एनडीए के हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं उनको लेकर सरकार बनाएंगे, और आगे की चीजें जैसे जैसे समय आएगा तय होंगी, और वैसे वैसे आपको उत्तर भी मिलेगा। आप पूर्व में कोई सवाल नहीं, मैंने जो बात कहनी थी प्लीज, मैंने अभी 3 चीजों को दी ना, 3 चीजें कहाँ मैंने देखा। आपके घरे हुए सवालों का मैं जवाब नहीं दे सकती, वो प्रश्न खड़ा हुआ था, वो जो आप चला रहे, मैंने उतरते ही कहा था ये प्रयास गलत है, उसके बाद भी आप चलाते रहे।
They're getting irritated with reporters asking if she were unhappy. She says, I've already denied that. That's not true. Why are you still running that story? But I don't know whether you missed that message, but there was a message in what she said. She said all decisions of the Bharatiya Janata Party should be taken by the BJP's Parliamentary Party Board. That's a pot shot at the clique of Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, Arun Jaitley that's been taking decisions. Because remember, when Narendra Modi invited these senior leaders to Gandhinagar to meet him between the last day of polling and before counting, Sushma Swaraj wasn't in Gandhinagar. She's saying the BJP's parliamentary board should take decisions. Sudhanshu Mittal, the reality is the BJP's parliamentary board has been reduced to a virtual rubber stamping decisions that have already been taken.
No, Rahul.
This is all true.
I don't think
I want to see your denial because it's all true.
I don't think you are acquainted with reality.
Really?
That meeting was a very informal kind of a meeting between this thing and circumstantially.
No, but she's saying that the BJP's parliamentary board should take decisions.
She's right on that. Because if NDA has to be expanded, more people have to be brought in. All these things are decided by the parliamentary board, and that's rightly the forum.
सुधांशु जी, एक साधारण सवाल का मुझे उत्तर दीजिएगा. Was Sushma ji invited to Gandhinagar, or did Mr. Modi forget to invite her?
But this was no meeting which took place there. You have to understand there's supposed to be an informal.
So was she invited or not?
I mean, there is a question of invitations.
She was not invited.
In fact, let me tell you one more thing. I'm not too sure who all were invited. This word invitation.
ये जो लोग गए थे, ये गेट क्रैश कर रहे थे.
That it all emitted out of.
बिना बुलाए पहुंच गए. सुषमा जी इज्जत करके नहीं गई.
नहीं किस लिए जाए भाई? Meeting हो तो जाएंगे ना. Some people have informal discussions.
You're as much in denial as the Congress is about its defeat.
I am not. You see, what is happening is we are seeing too much of meaning in a lot of things which don't have a meaning. I mean, let's be objective.
देखिए ये फोटोग्राफ बाहर नहीं आ सकता था
सर। मुझे थोड़ा सा आपसे ज्यादा पता है क्या हुआ है
गांधीनगर में जो परिस्थिति
तो
है।
मैं पूछ रहा हूं आपको, ऐसा घर से फोन आई थी या नहीं?
आप is that relevant? Is that relevant? The fact is, was this meeting a meeting of the core group? No.
नहीं, core group को छोड़िए. I'm asking a simple question. No, come back to my question. Did Mr. Modi pick up the phone and say, Bhenji, I'd like you to come?
ऐसा है Karan ji, he doesn't call her. Blatantly unfair to the situation. If there is a meeting in which she is not invited, then you have a reason to say so. There was no meeting.
No, but those are the meetings that are taking decisions, Sudhanshu Mittal.
It is not. That is what I'm trying to tell you. No, it is not.
Okay, we've got Kamlesh Sutar in Vadodara, and I have a very interesting data point here. We have vote share percentages for Gujarat. 61% of the people of Gujarat have voted in favor of the BJP, at least from the data that we have available. Congress is down to 34. Remember, in Gujarat, it was almost close to 50, with a couple of points here and there determining who wins in a particular election. Ram Madhav from the RSS is speaking. Let's listen to what he said.
हम मोदी जी को और नई सरकार को शुभकामनाएं देते हैं। उनके नेतृत्व में नई सरकार बनने वाली है। देश के हित में अच्छा काम वो सरकार करे ऐसे अपेक्षा करते हैं। बाकी 3:30 बजे हमारे तरफ से एक औपचारिक जो ऑफिशियल एक स्टेटमेंट आपको रिलीज किया जाएगा।
राम माधव जी, 84 के बाद पहली बार कोई ऐसी दल सिंगल लार्जेस्ट अपने दम पर बहुमत लेकर आ रही है। कितनी बड़ी उपलब्धि इसको मानते हैं?
बहुत प्रसन्नता का विषय है कि भाजपा अपने स्वयं ही जो सिंपल मेजॉरिटी है उतनी संख्या पार करने वाली है, ऐसा लगता है। अभी जो रुझान है, ट्रेंड्स है, बहुत अच्छा प्रसन्नता का विषय है। देश की जनता एक अपार विश्वास भाजपा पर, मोदी जी के नेतृत्व पर रखा है।
माधव जी, तमाम जो
भूमिका क्या
संघ की सरकार के विषय में, मंत्री परिषद के विषय में संघ की कोई भूमिका नहीं रहेगी। वो पार्टी और पार्टी के नेतागण वो उसको तय करेंगे। आगे जो भी निर्णय है, ठीक है।
राम माधव जी, 300 से ज्यादा सीटें नजर आ रही है, 325 के आसपास जो आंकड़े आ रहे हैं। टीवी टुडे न्यूज 24 का जो एक सर्वे आया था उसमें कहा गया था कि 330 सीटें बीजेपी को अपने दम पर आएंगी। क्या कहेंगे ओपिनियन पोल को लेकर?
कुछ ओपिनियन पोल्स बहुत ही एक्यूरेट रहे हैं। जैसे चाणक्य का ओपिनियन पोल था, वो लगभग उनके हिसाब से आंकड़े आ रहे हैं, अच्छी बात है। और बाकी भी लगभग सभी ओपिनियन पोल्स ने इस बात को तो स्पष्ट बताया कि देश की जनता कांग्रेस को नकारने वाली है, रिजेक्ट करने वाली है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के गठबंधन को बहुमत देने वाली है। यह बात तो लगभग सभी ओपिनियन पोल्स ने कहा है। आंकड़ों की दृष्टि से कोई कम कोई ज्यादा हो सकता है।
How active is the RSS going to be in policy making henceforth?
See, our role was limited to educating people before the elections about the challenges that the nation is facing today. Our people have done their best to go from door to door to tell people about the need for a change. We are happy that besides many major efforts made by Modi ji himself and the party and all, the efforts made by Swayasevakas for a change in the country have also yielded results. And today the results that we see today, I think, suggests that people have voted for change.
RSS had also done its own survey in which you had pegged it to be 279, so very close.
We have not done any survey. That news item was, I don't know from where it has come. We have not done any survey. But that
That's Ram Madhav, one of the Navratnas of Narendra Modi, according to the India Today article. One of the big backers of Modi in the Sangh Parivar. There were detractors who felt he would become too big, too powerful, difficult to deal with. Ram Madhav, Suresh Soni, Bhaiyaji Joshi are those who continue to back Narendra Modi.
Mr. Mittal, can I ask you another sadharan simple question?
Ji, most welcome.
Who's more important, the Prime Minister of India or the Sangh Sanchalak of the RSS?
For a Swayamsevak, the Sanchalak, surely. For the nation, the Prime Minister. Surely.
But in the capacity of being a sevak of the RSS, will Mr. Modi bow to Mr. Mohan Bhagwat?
Absolutely.
Or Mr. Mohan Bhagwat go to Racecourse Road?
That when Mr. Modi dons the attire of a Swayamsevak, he will certainly bow before the Sar Sanchalak, because we have a Sar Sanchalak.
No, but Karan's asking a very important question.
Yeah.
Vajpayee used to go to Nagpur most often, or to Jhandewala, where the Delhi headquarters of the RSS is. Will Mohan Bhagwat come to 7 RCR, or will Modi...
This information is not correct.
For most parts?
No, that's not correct. I know it.
So you're saying that Mohan Bhagwat will henceforth come to
there's no protocol per se defined on informal consultations.
No, but you're suggesting something very important, that now that he's about to become Prime Minister of India, the Prime Minister will not be going to Jhandewala. If there is to be a meeting, Mr. Bhagwat will come to Race Course Road.
I have not even remotely said it. As I said, when he dons the attire of the Swayamsevak, he's going to bow to the Sarsang Chalak. Obviously, that's the
my colleague Kamlesh Sutar is in Vadodara. No. He's got jubilant BJP cadre who are out on the streets dancing and celebrating. Let's catch the mood in Vadodara, the seat that Narendra Modi is going to be giving up. Till 2 p.m. No, because what they're saying is...
As the news of Narendra Modi's victory from Vadodara came out, BJP workers from Vadodara have erupted into large-scale celebrations. Outside the counting center, these are the pictures of celebration. BJP workers have started an impromptu Garba round. Women walk here, enjoying themselves a lot. Crackers are being busted. We speak to a couple of Narendra Modi supporters. What are the celebrations about? How happy are you?
We are very happy and very excited. It is India's good luck and Modi is here now.
Do you want to see Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister?
Yes. And our dream come true.
How long are you going to celebrate?
Up to evening.
Narendra Modi is expected to reach Vadodara by afternoon. He'll be addressing a public rally, and the celebrations that have begun. It seems that the party on the streets of Vadodara is going to go on till late in the night. With camera person Raju Revankar, Kamlesh Sutar in Vadodara for Headlines Today.
Kamlesh Sutar there celebrating along with the BJP workers. Vadodara though will be disappointed, Tavleen, because Modi is going to give up on Vadodara. So he's actually going to Vadodara first, thanking his people, his voters in Vadodara, and possibly laying the grounds for why he should give up Vadodara for Varanasi.
I don't think people care about these things that much. I really don't.
In Vadodara they did.
Not when there's a Prime Minister involved. Do you know? I mean, if it's...
No, but there's a sense of belonging. There's a sense of people wanting Modi there. That's the sense we picked up when we were in Vadodara.
Yeah?
People were very concerned that chhod ke Varanasi na chala. They wanted Modi to stay on in Vadodara. They've got fond of him over the years.
You know, if you were in his position, you would take Banaras as well.
Absolutely.
Because Banaras is much more a national constituency than Baroda is. So, you know...
Okay, Preeti Chaudhary is joining us live at this time from the residence in Gandhinagar where Narendra Modi reached a short while before now to meet his mother. And Preeti's got some of those. What did Modi tell his mother? And what's the lecture that the mom gave the son who's about to become India's Prime Minister?
You know, well, Rahul, we really couldn't hear much, but it was done very symbolically. It was done outside because there was a media stakeout. And at least 1,000 to 2,000 people impromptu, Rahul. We've covered, at least I've covered quite a few political events, Rahul. Never seen this sudden outpour of euphoria. The minute the people around the colony figured out that Narendra Modi is coming to see his mother, we saw people running from all buildings, coming and gathering there. Thousands of people, at least 2,000 to 3,000 we could make out, all impromptu. Then Narendra Modi came inside, pulled out the chair from inside the house where his mother, Hira Ben, stays, right outside in the porch. He sat down, he touched her feet, she blessed him, and eventually she did tell us that in 2012, when Narendra Modi had become the Chief Minister of Gujarat, she knew that he would now become the Prime Minister of India. She told him that he needs to now run the country.
Stay with us for a moment. Jayalalitha is addressing a press conference. I'm coming right back to you, but first I want to listen to Jayalalitha. 38 seats in Tamil Nadu out of 39. Imagine that.
அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் மீதும் முழுமையான நம்பிக்கையை வைத்துள்ளார்கள் என்பதனை இந்த தேர்தல் முடிவுகள் உலகிற்கு எடுத்துக்காட்டியுள்ளன. வாக்களித்து வரலாற்று சிறப்புமிக்க ஒரு வெற்றியை அளித்த தமிழக மக்களுக்கு சரி நீங்க பேசுறீங்களா? வாக்களித்து இத்தகைய ஒரு மகத்தான வெற்றியை வழங்கிய தமிழக மக்களுக்கு, வாக்காளர் பெருமக்களுக்கு மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை எனது இதயம் கனிந்த நன்றியினை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் தேர்தல் வெற்றிக்காக பாடுபட்ட
Krishna Anand, help us out. What she say?
Well, I think, I mean, for the first time, I think, unlike of Jayalalitha, she was very humble in the sense of thanking the people. But what is most significant is, I mean, here she had an alliance and she actually sort of, pushed out everybody. She won the last election in 2011. Everybody thought it's thanks to Vijayakant, and, she pushed him out even before she was sworn in. But now, for the first time, probably in Tamil Nadu's history after 1967, I see one of the Dravidian party, and that is the ADMK now, having swept the elections all on its own without a single political party.
43% of the vote share is what she has at this time.
And I think, it looks like she has decimated all these smaller parties. Which...
No, but interesting is that number 2 in terms of vote share is the BJP. The BJP, DMK, PMK, MDMK alliance is actually at number 2. In terms of vote share, they're at 17%. The DMK is at 16%. Others are at 17%, but that's a whole bunch of parties.
Amazing.
But the fact is, at number 1, you've got Jayalalitha, 38 out of 39 seats. That's huge. Dhananjay, your opinion poll in Tamil Nadu, all messed up.
Yeah, DMK would be third. That was something that the poll didn't estimate.
In terms of vote share?
In terms of vote share.
That's huge.
And Dr. Lahiri and I were just remembering that when I first came up with the numbers, he was very anxious that how could DMK and ADMK together get 33 seats, because that was our initial focus.
Okay, I need to slip into a very quick break. We, of course, will be back on the other side of a very quick break, 30 seconds, and we are back with our live coverage. Narendra Modi met with his mother a short while before now. My colleague Preeti Chaudhary is joining us from there. Very emotional scenes of Narendra Modi meeting Hiraben, his mother. Can you speak, Preeti, to some of the very jubilant faces around you and tell us what they think and how important is this victory for them, Preeti?
Well, I'm going to do just that, Rahul. There were, thousands of people impromptu came about running. We saw many people just running because the police had barricaded them. Then Narendra Modi waved his hand, asking the police to let the crowds in. And that is when we saw people just streaming, running towards Hiraben's house. I have this motley crew here, extremely excited at meeting Narendra Modi. You were here just to see Narendra Modi?
Yes.
The new Prime Minister, your Chief Minister has become the Prime Minister now.
Yeah, now he's ruling the India also, and he will show the same government what I was.
People stomping on our cables, that sent the audio record back. Yeah, somebody's just stepped on our cable. We'll have that set right in just a moment. Preeti, just try and patch that cable through. I think someone's just stepped on it. I'm coming back to you in a moment. 64% vote share for the BJP in Gujarat. Dr. Lahiri, what does this mean? Gujarat is usually 50-50, thereabouts, or was before Modi dominated Gujarat. But now 64%, 2 out of 3 people who voted in Gujarat voted for Modi.
In company boards, you have a super majority, which is 67%. What we are seeing is that it's coming close to that. Gujarat is just a sweep. In fact, in India Today Cicero poll, which I was also involved, we predicted 25 or 24, 23 to 25.
We said 24 to 26 and 26. Gave 55% votes. But even 55% votes is less, and
it's 9% off. 64 9%. At this time, that might change, of course, is huge. Simi Pasha is currently reporting from Varanasi, where there are lots of laddus being distributed. In fact, there have been so many laddus. We haven't had any lunch. We missed on our breakfast as well. Now, we really need to get the next BJP leader who comes to our studios. Bring a box of laddus. Simi Pasha, take it away.
I should come back with laddus.
मोदी बनारस आएंगे कल तो हम लोग जरूर लड्डू लेके पहुंचेंगे वहाँ पे उनका इंतजार हम लोग का
और नीता जी आप भी कल से डिब्बे पैक कर रही हैं बहुत ही मेहनत से काफी काम मिला है आपको मोदी जी से आप बताइए वोट किसको दिया था और लड्डू किसके लिए बना रही हैं
जी हम मोदी जी को ही वोट दिए थे और मोदी जी के लिए ही ये लड्डू बन रहा है और हम लोग दिल से चाहते थे कि मोदी जी ही जीते और बीजेपी ही जीते
और हर डिब्बे पे आपने मोदी जी की फोटो भी लगा रखी है these are boxes that have been prepared by Anupam Sweets here there's a photograph of Narendra Modi and BJP's earlier Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on these boxes. They will be distributed by BJP party workers in the city of Varanasi. So hectic preparations are on in this kitchen. Silent preparations are on. The big announcement expected by evening. But as far as these people are concerned, they believe that Narendra Modi has already won the battle and they're only waiting for the sweets to be distributed.
Those are the only laddus that are selling today in Varanasi. Narendra Modi center stage, Atal Bihari Vajpayee reduced to a postage stamp on the side. Massive laddu wave across the country. Lalita Kumaramangalam from the Bharatiya Janata Party is joining us on this broadcast. Thank you very much, ma'am, and welcome. But before that, I want to take our viewers through the numbers from Uttar Pradesh. Let's just take a look at how decisive the Uttar Pradesh tally has been in favor of the BJP, because most polls had predicted about 55 odd seats for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Instead, the BJP has actually done much better than the most bullish predictions. 68 seats. 57 is what they had in joint Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and UP taken together. If you remove the 5 seats of Uttarakhand, they would have been down to 52. This is 15 seats more than their best, which is huge. Just look at that. The rest of Uttar Pradesh has been reduced. Amit Shah, and he's sent me an SMS, he's promising to join us this evening. He is the victory man, the miracle man.
Rahul, if you recall, even he didn't expect such a victory.
That's true.
He said 60.
You met him with me in Varanasi.
And we said 50, he said 60. And even his expectations have been surpassed. This was my fear, that when you have a wave, you can err on both sides. It's a huge wave, and I have no difficulty in conceding that we underestimated the wave.
And look at the seat conversion. Look at the multiplier.
42% is the vote share of the Bharatiya Janata Party. For a party that was earlier at 18, they have more than doubled their vote share. Essentially meaning that this is cutting across caste. They've stitched together a social coalition, which is incredible.
But that's actually, as I said before, the definition of a wave is a vote that cuts across caste, that cuts across normal social barriers. What's most interesting to me about the Uttar Pradesh victory is that when the BJP has done better in Uttar Pradesh, when it's come out of nowhere, it's always had a vaguely emotional appeal. There's always been something about Ram Janmabhoomi, something about Hindutva. The significance of this victory is that they've done it without Hindutva, without Ram Janmabhoomi. They've done it on the basis of appealing to people's aspirations. I think there's a lesson. Yeah?
Veer, that's not true.
You did on Hindutva?
No. The highest we've had was in 98.
Right.
And 98 was not Hindutva. In fact, let me reveal something here. The polarized politics has never helped BJP. To 92, you lose 93.
Okay.
96, you lose. 2002, you lose 2004. So this entire thesis of polarized politics helping BJP is a humbug.
And this one proves it.
42% vote share in favor of the BJP. The Congress and the RLD down to 11%, the SP at 23, the BSP at 19. Everyone else reduced to a shambles. We've seen what's happening in the BJP. Let's go across to the Congress headquarters. My colleague Ashar Khan joins us from there. I'm sure there are no laddus being distributed at the Congress headquarters, but what's happening, Ashar? What can you tell us?
As the results and trends are coming out, which is showing that there is a virtual rout of the Congress party, we can see behind me that at the AICC headquarters, the seniors are not speaking. At the moment, it has only been given to the junior spokespersons who were put on roster duty to go to channels. What the seniors are saying that they will only come out after the Congress president has spoken. There is virtually, as far as inside of the Congress office is concerned, there is absolutely dead silence. Nobody is there. There are a few senior spokespersons sitting inside looking at television screens, but they're not coming out to speak. They're saying we'll wait and watch. But there is no hope whatsoever as far as the Congress is concerned. People were expecting a defeat within the Congress, but this has come as a complete shocker for them. In Delhi, Ashar Khan for Headlines Today.
Okay, that was Ashar Khan from the Congress headquarters. Preeti Chaudhary is now back with us from Narendra Modi's mother's residence, or where she was staying this morning, where he went and visited her, and Preeti was trying to speak before some excited people jumped on our cables to the people around her. Preeti, yes, what can you tell us? How was this meeting and what do people have to say about the meeting between Modi and his mother?
Well, Rahul, when we were here, we saw about at least 1,000 people who impromptu got to know that Narendra Modi was coming in, very excited. And Narendra Modi, because there was such massive security, there were barricades put all across his mother's residence. And then he waved at the security to just let the people in. And it was nothing, but it was like a sea of euphoria, just, following his car down. There were some of them who's joining us at this point of time. So you came all the way. Your chief minister is now the prime minister. What do you say?
Modi Sarkar.
Modi Sarkar! Abki baar! There's this young woman here. She's got a massive camera with her. You just came to take pictures. Yeah. Why? I love Narendra Modi. Why do you love Narendra? Because he's Prime Minister. Why here, sir? Why here today?
Yeah. Now see you see even a smallest child, he is knowing that he has a persona. He has shown his persona in Gujarat. He has shown the same ministry and he has run a wonderful government over here, and he wants to give same
But now he's going away. He's going to be the prime minister. What happens to your Gujarat? He's even leaving Vadodara here.
We want to make the whole India as a Gujarat very colorful, very peaceful, and very vibrant, and also very
lots of kids as well. Rahul, what's really interesting is lots of children also gathered here. क्यों आए हो यहाँ पर?
मोदी जी को देखने.
क्यों आए हो यहाँ पर?
मोदी.
क्यों आए हो?
मोदी जी. मोदी जी को देखने.
So the rhetoric, Modi ji ko dekhne, Rahul. Back to you. We're going to head to the headquarters now. That's where he's meeting the senior partyship of the BJP.
All right, that's very interesting there. It's all Namo Namo. The tsunamo. The tsunami has become a tsunamo now, and a massive tsunami that swept India. Yes, Sudhanshu.
One mean comment I want to pass.
Just one?
Just one.
Against Modi?
No.
Are you sure?
Where is Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Is he back from abroad?
No, he's back. He's back.
He is?
He had an emergency meeting this morning.
Okay.
He should really be coming out with any time now.
Actually, like your leader, he also went to meet his mother.
Okay, I want to go across to Vadnagar. Vadnagar is Narendra Modi's birthplace. We were there early this morning at Narendra Modi's ancestral house. Vadnagar is the town he's beautified. It's the town where he was born. It's the town where he sold tea as a young kid to help out his father. What's Vadnagar thinking about its son, who's now about to be India's Prime Minister?
Celebrations have erupted here at Vadnagar, which is the birthplace of Narendra Modi. As you can see behind me, hundreds of people have gathered here at the central marketplace here in Vadnagar. The sound of the doors completely deafening with firecrackers. This great picture has suddenly come alive as their Tribala shout out to be India's next Prime Minister. And you can see behind me, people completely excited and electrifying atmosphere here at Modi's birthplace in Vadnagar. The BJP-led NDA government is touted to be the next from Vadnagar, touted to be India's next Prime Minister.
Rishika Barua reporting from Vadnagar, and what a moment this is for Vadnagar as well, Achut Yagnik, to have a humble son of the soil now propelled to the post of India's Prime Minister.
They are very happy, and let me tell you that Vadnagar is one of the oldest town of India. When Yuan Chang visited India, and particularly Western India, he also visited Vadnagar, and at that time it was known as Anandanagar.
But one of the differences, Sangvi, between Gujarati towns and other towns is that most other towns there's a lot of urban degradation, there's decay.
Yeah.
In Gujarat we're actually seeing a lot of urban regeneration. Vadnagar is a beautiful town. The lake, the roads. To Modi's credit, he's been, okay, L.K. Advani is speaking, he's one from Gandhinagar. Let's listen to what the patriarch of the party...
Sir, congratulations for the victory of your party. Sir, how do you react to it, sir?
बहुत खुशी है, बहुत प्रसन्नता है कि इस चुनाव में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को इतनी शानदार विजय मिली है। मैं समझता हूं कि इसका डिटेल्स में एनालिसिस होना चाहिए, इस प्रकार के परिणाम क्यों आए हैं। मैं कम से कम 1.5-2 साल से, जब से लेकर के ये कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स हुई हैं, तब से लेकर के लगातार कहता रहा हूं कि देश की स्थिति लगातार कांग्रेस पार्टी के खिलाफ जो बन रही है, उसमें कांग्रेस नेतृत्व को समझना चाहिए कि सबसे बड़ा योगदान वे ही कर रहे हैं। हम विपक्ष में हैं, हम उसका लाभ जरूर उठाना चाहेंगे, लेकिन हम कितनी भी मेहनत करें, जितना वो कुछ कर रहे हैं, इस बात को सुनिश्चित करने के लिए कि आने वाले 2014 के लोकसभा चुनाव में कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार हार जाए और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार विजयी होकर के नई दिल्ली में विराजमान हो। मैं नहीं जानता हूं कि हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में किसी सरकारी दल ने इतनी मेहनत कभी पहले की है जितनी ये लोग कर रहे हैं। मुझे सवाल मत पूछिए पीछे, मुझे पूरी बात कहने दीजिए। मैं मानता हूं कि इस चुनाव परिणाम को लाने के लिए भ्रष्टाचार, महंगाई और कुशासन, ये 3 प्रमुख कारण बने, जिसके कारण आज का ये परिणाम आया है। विश्लेषण तो और मुझे करना पड़ेगा कई पहलुओं से भी, जिसमें जहां जहां हम पहले कभी नहीं जीते वहां पर भी जीत गए। उसमें नरेंद्र भाई मोदी के नेतृत्व का कितना योगदान है, फिर राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के साथ जुड़े हुए जितने सारे संगठन हैं जिनमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक है, उन सबके साथ जुड़े हुए जो लोग हैं उनका कितना योगदान है, इन सब बातों को देखना पड़ेगा। लेकिन मोटी तौर पर मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूं कि आज का जो मतदान है वह भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ है, कुशासन के खिलाफ है और परिवारवाद के खिलाफ है, डायनेस्टिक रूल के खिलाफ है। और इन सब बातों को ध्यान में रख करके शासन में जो भी लोग हैं या जो राजनीति में लोग हैं, उन सबको अपने अपनी बारे में व्यक्तिगत रूप से, अपनी अपनी पार्टी के बारे में सामूहिक रूप से सोच करके और उसका परिवारजन करना चाहिए। मुझे और किसी सवाल का जवाब नहीं देना है।
आपकी आंखों में आंसू आ रहे हैं।
देखिए, आप सवाल पूछ रहे हैं दूसरा, उसका भी मैं कई बार उत्तर दे चुका हूँ, एक बार नहीं। आज कुछ नहीं कहूँगा। आज मैं कहूँगा कि मैं मानता हूँ कि हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में ऐसा चुनाव पहले कभी नहीं हुआ और उसके जो सबक है उनसे सब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, सब राजनीतिक नेता वो सबक सीखे, यही मैं चाहूँगा।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
The reality is that Narendra Modi's elevation was bitterly opposed by the Advani camp. They never believed this was going to happen. Even now, he's not fully prepared to attribute this victory to Narendra Modi. He says it needs to be assessed. What was the impact of Modi's leadership? How much did the Sangh cadre who worked on the ground contribute to this victory? Is he not being gracious enough in Modi's victory? That's the question. Or is it just a case of sour grapes because he never got this opportunity? Or are we being unfair and mean to the man who created this party? I want to go across to Siddharth Birla, President FICCI. Corporate India has big hopes from Narendra Modi. Now that the BJP is at 278 seats, do you really think for Corporate India and the India growth story, अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं, Mr. Birla?
Well, we're still waiting for the final numbers to come in, but based on the trend so far, NDA is clearly the biggest winner, and that is a very healthy sign as far as we are concerned, in the sense that we have been asking, or we have been hoping, that whichever government comes into power comes with a significant majority, that they can take their decisions and push through policies which will be in the interest of national development. I think from the corporate sector, let us look at this election in two parts. That the key agenda of NDA has been, or BJP and Mr. Modi, has been unnati or development. I think it is a development agenda on which this election has gone forward.
Okay.
And sorry.
No, go on. We're listening to you. But just hold your thought for a moment. L.K. Advani is speaking once again, this time at the BJP headquarters. Let's listen to what he's saying this time. He's addressing his party workers. That's L.K. Advani congratulating Narendra Modi there for that massive victory. BJP cadre all across the country in a state of jubilation, as there must be. This is their party's finest hour. Let's go across and take a look at the numbers for Gujarat, where there's been a whitewash in favor of Narendra Modi, and no wonder. People are dancing on the streets of Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, Vadnagar, Vadodara. The entire state has been painted orange, and all across the state there's a saffron wave. Remember last time the Congress had 11 seats, they've lost all those 11 seats. The BJP has picked up all the 26 seats of Gujarat. The man of the moment, the man of the hour, Narendra Modi. Will there be a change in Gujarat's politics, Dr. Lahiri, if Narendra Modi were to move to the centre? Will the Congress be able to make a comeback then, or do you think Gujarat is saffronized in the way that some Republican states in the United States and some states in the US are Republican states and dominated almost forever? Will it be the same this way?
I mean, whatever little I know about Mr. Narendra Modi, he's an organization man. He grew up from the organization. I think he is very familiar with the BJP party structure in Gujarat.
Yes.
And I believe he works 18 hours a day. So I'll be very surprised if he lets Gujarat slip out. But one of the important things I also want to bring to your notice, I was noticing that it's after 1984 that a party has got an absolute majority to rule India. So it's after a period of 30 years precisely that the country has voted for a party to have an absolute majority to rule India, which is a very significant...
No, but I want to go back to Siddharth Birla on the question that we were asking him about corporate India, the high expectations, the heightened expectations, and whether he believes that Narendra Modi will be able to live up to the level of expectations he's built. Given how high expectations are, do you think Modi will be able to deliver as per your expectations and the expectations of those who voted for him, sir?
Okay, I'll just divert for a second. We just spoke about ruling India. I think the key expectation that all businessmen and all young citizens have is that India needs to be governed, not ruled. So I think that is first. And with Mr. Modi and the BJP promising that we will have minimum governance, minimum government and maximum governance is what we are really looking forward to. Secondly, I think what we have seen so far from Mr. Modi is a roadmap for development, on a wide-ranging roadmap. I think the key to understand is his implementation and his decision-making capabilities and governance capabilities, which our previous speaker also spoke of. And therefore, one places great reliance on that track record of governance, decision making and implementation to take the development agenda forward. As far as expectations, I think the key is that expectations will also have to be managed. Because we've been repeatedly saying there is no magic wand that something will happen tomorrow morning and everything will suddenly turn hunky-rosy. So I imagine that we have a very short period in which a roadmap can be laid out, the initial decisions that are required to kickstart things start happening.
Okay.
And we can see the results, we can see the results being delivered from a period of, let's say, 6 months to 24 months. You'll see the tangible deliveries come in. So I think management of expectations is also going to be very important.
I'm going to leave it over there, Mr. Siddharth Birla. Thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts. You're, of course, being very realistic, unlike the markets that seem almost orgasmic, with the Modi victory crossing 25,000 there on 7th heaven. And they just want to stay there. How much of that is just hyperbole and how much is reality? We need to slip into a quick break. When we come back, we'll return live with your vote 2014. We're back in a moment. And we're talking about this massive Narendra Modi wave, tsunami sweeping across India. We return on the other side of these quick messages. We now have trends from all 543 seats. Several of these are outright victories. Some are still leads. But the big story this afternoon is that Narendra Modi, the man in the orange kurta, is set to be India's next Prime Minister with 329 seats for the NDA. That's 188 seats more than last time. The Congress-led UPA alliance is down to 69, less than the number of ministers they had in the last UPA government, a loss of a whopping 165 seats. As far as the vote share of the NDA is concerned, they've jumped up to 40% vote share. 40%, that's a gain of almost 14% from the 26% they had last time, whereas the Congress actually hasn't lost much vote share. Their vote share figures just come down 2%, from 32 to 30 for the UPA. What explains this? The fact that the vote share for the UPA hasn't slipped as much as the seat share, which has crashed, which means that they've actually taken a lot of the votes from the others.
One is that they're taking votes from the others. The second is that the NDA votes are much more concentrated. I think I'll have to check this, but it's probably the first time that what we pollsters call the multiplier effect. In Uttar Pradesh for BJP is 2. It gets 85% seats with 42% votes. I don't think this has happened ever before. So the BJP...
but that's also because the opposition vote is split. The index of opposition unity is such that it's completely fragmented.
One, it is split.
Yes.
The second, their vote is concentrated.
The one man who never thought this was going to happen, the man who tried to stop this from happening, BJP patriarch LK Advani, man who led the party in the disastrous 2009 campaign and held out against Modi's elevation, spoke to journalists a short while before now. This is what Advani had to say.
भ्रष्टाचार, महंगाई और कुशासन, ये 3 प्रमुख कारण बने जिसके कारण आज का ये परिणाम आया है। विश्लेषण तो और मुझे करना पड़ेगा कई पहलुओं से भी, जिसमें जहां-जहां हम पहले कभी नहीं जीते वहां पर भी जीत गए। उसमें नरेंद्र भाई मोदी के नेतृत्व का कितना योगदान है, फिर राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के साथ जुड़े हुए जितने सारे संगठन हैं जिनमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक है, उन सबके साथ जुड़े हुए जो लोग हैं उनका कितना योगदान है।
Okay, I want to now take a look at some very interesting data that's just come out here. Take a look at Narendra Modi's strike rate. Just take this up full screen, please. Of the 249 rallies addressed by Narendra Modi, he has turned 188 out of those into victories. Only 44 is when the BJP is either trailing or losing, which means Narendra Modi's strike rate in this election, in terms of where he held rallies and how many of those converted into victories, is a massive 81%. Rahul Gandhi, on the other hand, and let's have his figures up on our screen right now, held 104 rallies, The Congress has won only on 11 of those seats. Only 11 victories for the Congress. On 88 of those seats, the Congress party has lost, giving Rahul Gandhi a victory strike rate, Javed, of only 11%, raising even bigger questions than those that already exist about Rahul Gandhi's ability as a vote catcher, as someone who can convert his rallies into victories. People will next time say, at this strike rate, thank you very much, we don't want you.
Yeah, it raises very serious doubts about Rahul Gandhi's abilities, both as a leader and as a vote catcher. We saw that happen in Uttar Pradesh, but people said that's a one-off thing. Maybe the next time around he'd do better. He hasn't, not just has he not done better, he's done worse. And Rahul really has his task cut out for him. He needs to take some very important calls.
Is this also a larger message against dynasties? I want to introduce Madhukar Jaitley from the Samajwadi Party. We've got these figures now. The BJP at 70 out of the 80 seats. That's mind-boggling, stunning. Hats off Amit Shah. Congratulations Narendra Modi. 70, no person. Nobody. Not even Amit Shah, not even Narendra Modi. They would have liked to believe this is true, but would they have ever believed that's true? The Samajwadi Party down to 7 seats. We had Madhukar Jaitley with us last time. He was rubbishing the exit polls. The exit polls were wrong, but that's because they were being conservative. And you now, sir, stand at 7 seats. What do you think is attributable to the NDA ending up at 70 seats? 70 out of 80 seats. Unimaginable, inconceivable 24 hours ago. Are you prepared to say, well done, Narendra Modi, Mr. Jaitley?
You see, Rahul, the increase in the BJP seats is because what I said last time. I'll repeat it again because probably you did not understand my purpose of telling you what exactly I meant. I said that the loss of the BSP and the Congress and the RLD, primarily, if you see out of these 70 seats, the 20 seats which were of the BSP have reduced to 0. And out of the 23 seats that the Congress had won last time, you are showing on your screen, there are only 3 seats leading in the trend. So 20 plus 20 is 40 seats out of these 70, and 5 seats are of the RLD. So whatever remains, we are the only party in the state who has been able to contain whatever little or more. You may draw your own conclusions, but the fact is that Samajwadi Party has fought in the detailed analysis which will come, we will do about it. But at the end of the day,
I accept what you're saying. I accept what you're saying because the Samajwadi Party vote share has only come down from 22 to 19, which essentially means it's the BSP that's been hammered, and therein lies an existential crisis for the BSP. If they're down to 15, what was the BSP vote share last time? If they're down to 15, it essentially means a lot of the Jata vote has gone away in favor of the BJP. Veer Sanghvi?
Yeah,
12-point swing against them.
Sorry, what?
12-point swing against the BSP.
Which is crazy because when you consider that they should have anti-incumbency against Mulayam's government, against Akhilesh's government, and they should be able to benefit from that, they benefited from nothing. There's no real explanation because this is not something, as far as I know, journalists saw coming. Did you see it coming?
Yeah, and the reason was 2007.
Yeah.
Mayawati comes up with the slogan, Hathi nahi Ganesh hai, Brahma Vishnu Mahesh hai, appealing to the upper castes.
Okay.
About 20 years ago, before that, she used to have Tilak Tarazu or Talwar, Inko Maro Jute Char. It was a full circle.
No, but now the Brahma, Ganesh have all gone.
All have gone.
And even the Jata and that really threatens the existence of identity politics, the existence of identity-based parties and what they stand for. Javed,
Rahul, it's a continuation of Delhi. We saw what happened in Delhi. Yes. A lot of the Jata vote shifted to the Aam Aadmi Party, and now in UP it's gravitated to the BJP.
I want to shift now to Tamil Nadu. We've got results now, trends and results from 39 seats. The Jayalalitha-led AIADMK is winning 38 out of those 39 seats. That's a gain of 29 seats from last time. Remember, in Tamil Nadu, she had no alliance. She shooed the left away. She didn't have DMDK on her side. This time, all by herself. That's the bar of the AIADMK. Everyone else is decimated. But there's no point in this victory, Krishna Anand, because what does she do with these numbers? Modi has what she needs. If she had got 38, Modi was at 230, that would have been ideal for Jayalalitha. Now she's got these 38 and she's still out of power, out of business.
I think, the BJP must be sort of, really celebrating, not just because they got these numbers, but they don't have to really depend on Jayalalitha. But having said that, I think, if we look at the vote percentage, this was probably the worst election for the DMK in the last 25 years. After the DMK actually came back in 1989, bounced back after MGR's death, this has been the worst election because, you had the two brothers really sort of, drawing the knives against each other. You had one of the important leaders' daughter, the patriarch's daughter actually spending time between jail and bail. And, so the DMK actually was facing its worst election, and still if they actually managed
because
about
for
60%.
the AIA-DMK, without a caste-based alliance, to come up with a vote share of 45%.
Let's be very clear that the ADMK is not about not without a caste.
But Tamil Nadu politics is about caste.
The ADMK itself is a caste alliance. Let's be very clear. I think the whole of the southern Tamil Nadu, the ADMK represents the resurgent
Let's listen to what
caste.
Jayalalitha told journalists when she spoke to them just a short while before now. She's won 38 seats. Does she look like someone who's thrilled to have won 38 out of 39, or is she not particularly pleased with the national picture? Take a look, decide for yourself.
I also wish to thank the people of Tamil Nadu for having bestowed on the All India Anna DMK the distinction of emerging as the third largest party in parliament in the country.
Not in parliament. They had swept elections, but that was all in alliance with the...
I want to go